Welcome to week one of the Bistec Industry Readiness Program. Over the next 24 weeks, you will move from writing code the way your university taught you to shipping software the way Bistec ships it. This week, one mindset sheet, Spec-First, 12 minutes. Let's go. Here is a quote from a Bistec PMO retrospective in 2012. A feature shipped in 2 days. The rollback took 2 weeks because nobody had written down who actually asked for it. That is not a code bug, that is a spec bug. The hardest part of production software is not the code, it is knowing what to build, for whom, and how to prove it is done. That is what Spec-First gives you. At university, code has an answer key. One user, you, a fixed grading rubric, a deadline, not uptime. Rework is private, you submit and forget. Production is different in every one of those ways. No answer key, many users with different opinions, requirements that shift during the build, services that are 24/7 with service level objectives. Rework that costs money. And the line people miss most often, you own your feature for weeks after it ships. The program exists to close this gap. Spec-First is the lever that does most of the closing. This is the thesis of the week. Every hour you spend on the spec saves 10 on the diff and 100 on the incident. Rework on paper has no blast radius. Rework in a diff means review, retest, reship. Rework after incident means users hurt and trust burnt. The discipline of Spec-First is moving as much rework as possible to the paper stage. Bistec's default pipeline is called BMAD. For artifacts, each answering exactly one question. Persona, who asked? What is the problem? Architecture, how does it fit? Stories, what actually ships? Skip one and the next one starts lying. Over the next 6 months, you will produce dozens of these, starting this week. A persona is not a marketing exercise, it is an anchor for the whole feature. A good persona names a Bistec role, describes the recurring task, captures the current workaround, quantifies the cost of that workaround, and names the person who will sign off. The anti-patterns are the shortcuts that break specs. Users. Everyone at Bistec. People who don't like the old tool. A persona invented to fill the slide. No decision owner. Your persona fits any of those patterns. Rewrite it before you move on. The PRD has 5 sections. Problem, what breaks today, for whom, how often, and what it costs. Goals, measurable outcomes, not adjectives. Non-goals, the explicit exclusions you will forget you needed. Functional requirements with acceptance in given when then form. Non-functional requirements with numeric targets. The most common PRD failure is letting solutions sneak into the problem statement. If a sentence reads, the feature should let users, that's a solution. Replace it with the pain it fixes. Boxes are what you wrote in school. Dashboard shows tickets. User can filter. Fast enough, given when then is what production engineers write. Given a PMO user signed in when they filtered by priority equals P0, then the response returns under 250 milliseconds and displays a count badge per priority grade. The acceptance criterion you write must be verifiable by a test or by a clear observation. If it isn't verifiable, it isn't acceptance criteria. The spec is not just documentation. It is the first thing you hand code. 3 inputs together form the context for any task. The PRD excerpt, the file paths the task actually edits, and the acceptance criteria. House rule, and you'll hear it again every week. Attach the 3 things that matter, not the whole repo. Less context wins more often than more context. This week's build is a real Bistec need. The PMO wants a lightweight dashboard to triage inbound tickets by priority. 4 stages this week, right? PRD and 2 architecture decision records. Build a spec task plan. Generate the scaffold with cloud code. Ship a green CI pipeline and record a 3-minute demo. Plan for about 20 hours of focused work. Before Friday, you need these installed. Cloud Code authenticated Node 20 with PNPM, Docker Desktop running. VS Code with GitHub Copilot disabled. Cloud Code and Copilot fight for autocomplete, so pick one. And in this program, it is Claude. On the account side, GitHub training org access, Azure training tenant sign-in, and Anthropic API key issued through Bistec, and the LMS and daily diary portal. If anything on this list is missing, message the program lead today on during this session. NAITA registration is what turns this program into university credit industrial training. The daily diary is required. Every weekday, log your hours. You will work 40 hours across Monday to Friday. Log the learning objective you touched, the spec or code artifact you produced, who you paired with, and any blockers. 40 hours a week, 960 hours total. Maximum 10 days of leave across 6 months. Treat the diary like stand-up notes. Short, specific daily. This month's deliverables add up to 100 points. 25 points for the PRD and architecture decision records, persona, problem, functional and non-functional requirements, and at least 2 rejected alternatives. 25 for the spec kit plan and the generated scaffold with continuous integration green. 25 for your context engineering notes, 3 reprompt pairs, including one case where less context produced a better answer. 25 for the CI report and the 3-minute recorded demo. Passing score is 75 out of 100. This week you will complete the first 2 artifacts. The takeaway from week 1, the spec is the lever. It is cheaper to rework, easier to rework, easier to review, and the first thing you hand to Cloud Code. Next week, week 2, you build on it. Architecture decision records with real alternatives, GitHub spec kit to turn the PRD into an executable task plan, your first generated scaffold, and the signals that tell you the agent has gone off spec. Before you close this video, open your training diary and file today's first entry. See you in week 2.